All right, folks, welcome to Module 4. This is all about meta retargeting ads. So in this module, we're going to cover a few things. So really, it's going to dial into our events manager. We need to go in and we need to set up our pixel. We're going to take that pixel. We're going to deploy it with Google Tag Manager, just like we did in previous modules. Then before we go too far in there, what I also want to do is create a custom conversion event. And what I want to show you is enhanced measurement inside of your events manager, inside of your inside of your Facebook Business Manager account. So I'm not going to show you how to create a Facebook Business Manager account. That's not the purpose of this. This is supposed to be as efficient as possible. I know I get a little verbose and talk a lot, but at the same time, I just want to make sure that this is streamlined as much as possible. So what I do want to focus on is that enhanced attribution. We're going to do that in our event manager, but then also I want to show you where to find that Facebook conversion API if your website enables or allows for that or has that integration enabled. Then after that, what we're going to do is we're going to build out just a few audiences. We already talked about the audience segmentation, and so I want you to follow that logic. I'm not going to go build out 15 different audiences for this training. We're just going to build out a few. I want to show you a couple different options in that audience. And then I might reference that audience spreadsheet that we talked about before. I might just kind of skip over that, just depending upon time. After that, what I do want to show you, though, is how to go into your ad set and really as I referred to in a previous module, it's like, who are we targeting and who are we not? So what I want to do is show you how I use these two audiences. So one, who are we targeting? And then two, who are we excluding? So that will knock that out. Then at the ad level, I'm going to show you a way to add those UTMs dynamically, so you really don't have to do anything once you push those UTMs in. And then for those of you who are running e-com, what I want to show you is how to set up dynamic placement ads. And I think after that, what we will do is move on to the next module, which will be TikTok. So let's go ahead and get started on this. I think, I need to just start sharing my screen over here, and then we will be good to go. So I'm going to go to my ads manager, and first things first, we're just going to pretend that we don't have a pixel set up. I'm going to go to events manager, and just recently Facebook or Meta updated this, so I can't really say that this is always going to be this way, but what we did is we went into I need to go to business settings. So then we'll get into events manager after this. So I'm going to go down to data sources. I believe now it is data sets, and this is where we find pixels. It's no longer right here in pixels. So I'm just going to add, and I'm going to name this RIQ test pixel. So we'll create, I do need to assign people to this, so make sure that you assign yourself. I'm going to add myself right in here, Jason Wilmot. We'll give myself all of the perks. And then what we do need to do is connect this to an ad account. So hopefully you already have an ad account. I think this will be Hacktics 1. We'll see if I lined it up with the right one. So basically what we want to do is we want to create a pixel, but then we also have to connect that pixel to an actual ads manager. So from there, if I've done this correctly, I'm going to go over to events manager. So we've created our pixel, and now what we need to do is a couple different things. We need to make sure that everything is toggled on as far as our enhancement, and then we'll go back and we'll actually install this on install it on our website via Google Tag Manager. So here we go under settings, and then what I can do is go all the way down to turn on advanced or automatic advanced matching. I want to make sure that this is turned on because it's going to capture as much data as possible. I will expand this, and I just want to make sure that everything is toggled on. That is something that you definitely want to do, because if not, let's see if it's off. What do we get? Yeah, we don't have any of that. So what, if you're asking for email, phone number, first name, last name, all this, we just want to feed Facebook as many data points as possible in order to set up our retargeting or lookalike audiences. So we want to make sure that this data is rich. Then this is where we set up conversion API. So in the conversion API, in the section that I showed you on Kajabi, and this would be the true for Go High Level, really you need two things. You need to have your pixel, which is this ID right up here, and then you need to have let's see, you need to generate a custom conversion API. Let's see here. what we'll do is we'll generate the access token. And this is what you need to copy and paste. So really, it's not that difficult to do. Again, your website needs to have this feature. Otherwise, you're just going to have to use the pixel. Now, remember, what is happening here is the Facebook Conversion API. This is server-based. So your website is taking data that it's receiving on its server and it's sending it back to Facebook, where a pixel is only sending something that is on the browser. So ideally, we want both, but as more and more people continue to opt out of pixels, we want to make sure that we have this Facebook Conversion API installed on the website as well. So, okay, so now that we have this, what we need to do is we need to get this onto our website. So let's see if we can do this. We're going to install the code manually. I'm going to click copy code, and then I'm going to go to Google Tag Manager. Then what we will do is we will create a new tag, and we are going to call this a meta pixel or Facebook pixel. This is totally up to you. This is custom HTML though, and all that we need to do is paste. And then just like Google Analytics, we want this pixel to live on all of our pages, so we're just going to select all pages. So I'm going to just submit because this isn't something that's going to affect the website, so I'm just going to go added meta pixel, and then we will publish. Now, what we will see here is, or what I'm going to do now is I need to look at this tag and identify, okay, so the pixel ends in 834. Now, there should be a few other pixels on the website. So let's just go to hacktics.com. And then we will use not Google Tag Assistant. So Google Tag Assistant is only for Google features or Google Elements. I'm using another free Chrome extension tool called Facebook Pixel Helper. And I've already forgotten what number that we have that this would be. So this is 834. When I use this Pixel Helper, I see this 834. So I know this is good. So I know this is working. So next what I need to do though is I need to create a custom conversion. This custom conversion is going to occur when somebody hits that thank you page. So as we discussed yesterday, we have this page. This is our use case. So we want people to opt in to this free training. And what we're going to do when they hit that thank you page, we want to send a custom conversion back to Facebook. And the reason why I like custom conversions, you can pick an event there, but as you go on, you might find that you have several different events in there. And so what I like to do is just create a custom conversion that's going to enable us to kind of be flexible here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this reference piece. And from here, what I would like is to find my page URL. And what we're going to do is go back to our tag manager. So this is done. And I'm going to call this a meta event. Okay, I'm actually going to go back to this, and we're going to make sure that the conversion name is going to stay the same. So I'm going to copy and paste that. We'll go to our Google Tag Manager, Meta Event Story Selling Opt-in. The tag configuration, though, this is where we need to go back to our RIQ conversion tracking template or conversion mapping template. I'm going to select all of this. And this will be, again, custom HTML. So the only thing that you need to change here is this spot right in here. So what I want to name this is Story Selling Opt-in. Again, I want to just keep the naming conventions all the same. So I'll do this. And then our trigger, we should already have this page view in here. And so that is really what we're going after. So let's think about this for a second. So the meta event is Story Selling Opt-in. Story Selling Opt-in, that is what we're sending back to Facebook as a custom conversion. And this will only fire on the thank you story selling. I'll click save, and then we will hit submit. Added meta event Story Selling Opt-in. Publish. So let's do two things. Let's test this both in Google Tag Manager, and let's also test this on Facebook. So I'll show you how to do both. Let's do Google Tag Manager first. So I'm going to go to Workspace. We'll go to Preview. And then that is the page that we want. So we'll select Connect. We should see these tags fire if things are firing correctly. So everything fired. The configuration tag fired, or the Google tag. the GA event, the G4 event, the GA4 event, the metapixel that fired on every page, and then this fired because we are on the correct page. So it looks like everything is working there. Let's go back to Meta. We want to turn that on. And then we will go preceded pixel overview. Now this might take a while, but what we want to do is we want to test this. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go down again. What I'm in our data sources. I'm in the events manager. And so I want to go to test events. And so what I'm going to do is use that same URL right here, and I'm going to open the website. Now this might take a little bit of time. We'll see how long it takes in this, but typically this shouldn't take more than a few minutes. But so I've deployed it, I've published it. Facebook might take a little bit of time to find this. And so what it does is it opens up a new window with that URL, and then we'll go back. It does see the page view, which is good, but it doesn't see that custom conversion yet. So it's not seeing the custom conversion. So what I'm going to do is a couple things. I think I could just wait for a bit. We'll try this one more time. And then if it doesn't work, I can show you how to troubleshoot this. So let's just go to test events one more time. Again, we're not seeing anything. Let's go to clear activity. We'll try this one more time, open website. So there should be a couple things. So one, we should see it in here, but we're not seeing it yet. The other spot that we should see it, it should be pulled up in here. So right now I'm only seeing the page view, so that's not correct. So what I want to do is double check a few things because you might run into this as well. So I'm going to go back to my business settings, go into custom conversions, and then I am going to try to find this new custom conversion that I just made. I'm not seeing it over here yet though. I could be in the wrong business, but I don't think that I am. So data sets, let's check this. We have our correct demo, RIQ demo, pixel test. We have everything connected, have it connected to ad accounts 1, custom conversions. I'm not seeing it in there. Of course I'm not. So then let's go here, we'll refresh. You know, I don't mind kind of troubleshooting live like this. It's a little bit annoying because you want everything to happen right the first time, but you know, typically when you do this, you're going to run into a few issues. And so let's just see if we can determine what the issue is here. And so again, I want to make sure what's our error here. Overview. Settings. Test events. Okay, let's clear this activity. Let's do it one more time, and then still not seeing that custom event. Okay, so we'll go to overview, and then what I can do from here is add an event. Let's see if it pulls in this custom conversion. So we don't have this yet. It's not even determining it. So this custom conversion should pull in, and this is another way to build it. So let's just call this. So that JSON should be firing and sending in, but in case you run into troubles, let's do the story selling opt-in. We'll go back to Facebook Business Manager. We'll go to events. This is the name, and then this is where we have to determine the pixel where this is happening on the website, and this is not all website traffic. What we need to do is we need to use a contains rule, just like what we've done on our Google Tag Manager. So we'll go to, gosh, if I could just click on the right thing, that would be really helpful. I'm not going to enter conversion value, but if you know a conversion value, then that would be where we punch it in. So let's just say, like, if I knew that every lead was worth $5, then I could put that in there, but I'm just going to leave that blank. So let's click create. This is another way to create that event. Now let's refresh this, and we'll go to test events again. I'm going to go grab this URL. All right. I'm going to X out of this because we don't need that. Test events. All right, let's clear the activity one more time. Still not seeing it. All right, so again, I'm not frustrated by this. I mean, I wish I could just have this automatically go, because you're probably thinking like, okay, am I doing this the right way? What I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait for a little bit, because I need to make sure that all of these events are getting sent in, and I don't see I don't see anything coming in yet. So this sometimes takes a little bit of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to this. So let's just talk about what we've done. So we've created and deployed a pixel. We have created our conversion event. We've actually created two of them, one in Facebook, one with Google Tag Manager, and we'll see we will see those events come through here in a little bit. We've made sure that we've turned on our enhanced attribution, and I've showed you how to go generate that code for your conversion API. What we're going to do now is we're going to build out some audiences, and then I'll show you kind of how to go build out just a few examples of these audiences, and then what we'll do is we'll load them into an ad set here. So let's go back and let's just start cooking up I'm going to go to my tools here, and then we're going to go to audiences. So from here, what I want to do is I'm going to create an audience, and this is kind of where I want to talk a little bit about on page versus off page. So this is really our source, right? Our source is our website. So a website is where a pixel is deployed, and so it's going to need to pull information from that website. Now this pixel was just placed on my website, so chances are nobody will be able to be banked in that, because like the pixel has been placed like literally minutes ago, and so it can only find people moving forward. Remember, it's not retroactive. And so what I could do here is, this is where I'm going to spend my time on building out retargeting audiences for page viewers. But here's a couple other things that I think we could just spend some time on. So if you are running videos online, you can retarget people who've watched so much percentage of a video that you have created. So let's just say that people who have watched 3 seconds, 10 seconds, 25% of your video, 50, 75, you can select like how many types, or what percentage of kind of that qualifying audience. If you want 50% of all viewers, then it's going to ask you to choose which videos you want. So if you ran a video as an ad, it's going to say, okay, we're going to bank an audience of people who have watched at least 50% of your ad, and then you can go actually put something in front of them again. So this is kind of a good top of funnel strategy. If you want to lead with a video and sort of qualify these people, then let's just say you run with a Facebook reel or a short. They watch 1 minute of it. They watch the full thing. It's information based. Maybe it's more educational. They find it interesting. What you can then do is build an audience off of everybody who's watched 95% of that video. And then what you can do from there is you can put a different video in front of them. Maybe one that's pushing them more towards the call to action. So you're using this sort of video as a kind of a tripwire. So if they watch so much of it, then I'm going to put a video back in front of them. And you can have this retention from 365 days. But let's just say that I wanted to do this for 180. I could say video viewers. Let's just say I have a retargeting IQ video. So I would say RIQ video viewers 95% video viewers last 14 days. Now I wouldn't probably have 180 days, because I don't want to be retargeting people who've watched my stuff 180 days ago. In this case, because I'm assuming if they haven't taken action in 180 days, they're probably not going to find this necessarily timely. So I would change this to 14 there, and we could create that audience. But first I do have to choose a video. I'm not going to do that in this case, but this would be, I guess, yeah, we would say 95, because that's what I said right here. So this is how you set up these audiences for video views. Now let's go back and we can do the same thing for lead form. If somebody has opened up a lead form, if they have opened but didn't submit, who opened and submitted form, we can build audiences off a lot of these individuals. So this is where things kind of get fun, right? We can do this for instant experience, shopping. I have not done the AR experience. Let's go to Instagram account. Let's show what we can do there. So if you have been running posts, you could say, hey, we want to create an audience of anybody who's engaged with any post or any ad, people who send a message, people who started following. I don't see the clicked on a call to action. I think that might only be in Facebook. So we can build, so again, this is on platform retargeting, meaning they've engaged with somebody. It doesn't matter if they've opted out of Pixels or not. Facebook or Meta knows who's engaged with the page, who's clicked on a post or an ad. So the same thing can be done with a Facebook page. Facebook has a few more options. So let's just say, yeah, they click on call to action button. So yeah, if you're running ads and somebody clicks on that ad and you want to create a retargeting audiences of somebody who's clicked on that ad but who has not purchased or who has not opted in, this would be a great way to do it. So again, that's really on-page retargeting. So then what we want to do, though, in this case is we want to build out that logic according to our website. So this is where we would, let's say RIQ, and we would say all website visitors, 30 days. So I'm going to say all website, I'll name this RIQ because I'm going to kill all of these later. All website visitors, and then last 30 days. So remember, this is the event, your website visitor, and then the time since the event occurred, last 30 days. So that's what I want to create. And then what we will do is we're going to create a new one. Let's say website 14 days. Now, what else could we do? We could also say they visited a specific page. We could also have a specific event in here. But seeing that we don't have any events yet, we can't do that. So all website visitors, so this would be RIQ, all website visitors, last 100 or last 14 days. All right, we'll do that. And then let's create one more. Let's just create an audience that has opted in. So theoretically, they've opted in because remember, this pixel won't have that data. And so we probably won't be able to, we might not be able to actually use these audiences in our ad set because it doesn't have enough folks. But I'm going to do who visited specific pages. And we are going to grab this one more time. So if they visited this thank you page, then we can assume that these people have in fact opted in. So let's go back to our audience and we'll say people who visit these pages contains thank you storytelling. So what I'm going to go back to this story selling opt-in because I'm just going to use the event, or sorry, I'm just going to use the names that we decided that we're going to use. RIQ story opt-in, last 30 days. So that way contains RIQ, specific pages. Okay, create audience. So what I'm going to do in my ad set is what I could do is say like, I could have two ad sets. One, I could chase people for, okay, I could have two ad sets. So the first ad set would be geared toward the people who visited this opt-in but didn't opt in. So I'm targeting these people in the last 14 days. So I would target the people who have visited the website in the last 14 days. I would exclude everybody who has already opted in. But then if I wanted to chase these people and give them a different message on days 15 through 30, like we talked about previously, what I would then do is I would select this as my target. We would be targeting these folks, all website visitors. I would exclude the people from the first 14 days because they're in another ad set. And then I would also exclude the people who have opted in. So that's kind of the way that we would be thinking about this. So I'm going to try to create an ad. We'll see if this actually works. So I'm going to go back up to Ads Manager and go into our campaigns, and we'll try to cook something up if we can. All right, so here we are in our Ads Manager, and I am going to be doing a sales because I want conversions. I'm going to go to Manual, and we're just going to call this RIQ test campaign. So let's do this. Let's go down to, I would typically be using a campaign budget optimization where we can just leave the budget as is. And so we'll go to next. Our conversion might not be able to be pulled in because of, let's see, because it might not see our, it's not seeing our so this is another way that we could create that conversion. It's not seeing our test yet. So this might prove difficult. I'm going to move forward for the sake of time. So again, not seeing anything. Let's see today. Okay, so we are starting to see some events, but I'm not seeing the test event that we want. We'll do this. Okay, so it is finally coming in. So it did take some time, but we are now seeing it. But I'm not seeing it inside of our Ads Manager, so that is a problem. Typically, so I'm just going to go on and do this. So what I would do, though, is I would wait until you see that conversion event right here. Or you could create this custom conversion. I've already done it. I don't want to load this up again. So one thing that I could do is just go out of this, and I could refresh the page just to see if that pulls in the event now that I've seen it in there. I'm going to go back into ad set, and then let's see this pixel. We'll do RIQ test. If for some reason you are not seeing your custom conversion in here, so I'm going to go into this campaign. We'll go to the ad set, edit, and then again, if you select your pixel and you are not seeing that, then that means that you have not connected the custom conversion to your ad account. So I want to show you how to do that. So we'll just go into our business settings. Then we'll go down to custom conversions. This is the same way that you associated your pixel with your own self and with your, so we did this earlier with our pixel. Then what we need to do is go into custom conversion. We'll select story selling opt-in. And so this is a custom conversion that we're just sending into the Facebook Business Manager, but now it needs to know, okay, what ad account do we actually want to attach that to? So I'll go to add assets, and then this is where I would just select the Hacktics one. So now that it has been done, so it is, let me refresh this just to make sure that it is connected assets, so it's good in the ad account. So if I go back into this, let's go to the Ads Manager. And again, we'll go to Hacktics 1. So now when I go into this edit, I will see if this is sales. I can look at the conversion, pick my pixel, and now I should be able to see that custom conversion. There it is, story selling opt-in. So that's why it was missing before, because we hadn't connected in the Business Manager, but now you know how to do that. All right, false start. And again, I'm not seeing it yet, but it should show up in here. So let's just do something for the sake of finishing this. We'll just do, it's not a purchase event, but let's just say purchase event, okay? Let's go in our dynamic creative is off. Now I'm not gonna show you exactly like how to go create ads and all this other stuff, but let me just kind of talk all this through. So I don't want to put an ad spend limit on this. This is where if you want to force this ad set to spend money, or if you want to limit, this is a really good feature that I love about Meta, that we can make an ad set actually spend money even in a campaign budget optimization. So minimum age, let's just say 24, and then let's go English, and then I'm going to turn that off. Now, what you could do is you could definitely experiment with Advantage Plus. Again, this is not an exhaustive video on all of this. So what I want, though, is I want to go up to my audiences. So RIQ, so let's say this. So my ad set name is RIQ. No, this isn't RIQ. This would be like the sales. So story selling, page views, last 14 days. And actually I would say RT because I like to note the retargeting. So last 14 days. And so then I would go in and I would say, okay, who am I targeting here? I am targeting all website visitors in the last 30 days. And then I want to add an exclusion of all opt-ins. Whoops, that was not right. So exclude all opt-ins. Okay, so let's look at this. All website visitors. So I want to target the people who've been to my website in the last 14 days, but I want to exclude the people who have already opted in. Now, this is an important part. You want to untick this because if you leave this ticked, what you're going to do is you're going to reach people beyond this audience. And we don't want to reach people beyond an audience if we are in retargeting. This is only for top of funnel experiments. So we definitely want to toggle this off because we don't want people and just ignore this. We only want to retarget the people who've been to our website. So if I want to edit my placements, if I don't want to just go with advantage placements recommended, I can. Now for retargeting, I wouldn't be against it because the Facebook algorithm is pretty good. But like if you only want to show ads on Facebook, if you only want to show ads on Instagram, then that's sort of how you can self-select. Let's just say that we only want it on Facebook and Instagram, but let's say that we don't want it in the right-hand column. We don't want it in Business Explorer. We don't want it in Marketplace, Profile Feed. Like you can just pick and choose what you want. Let's say I don't want it on Reels at all. I don't want it on any of these. I don't want it in search results. So this is totally up to you. But for retargeting, I would recommend just leaving it toggled on to everything because I think that's going to be fine. So let's click next. And I'm not going to load up an ad, but I do want to show you where we add these UTMs that we've talked about before. So all the way down, you're going to see this build a URL parameter. And this is what's really cool. So what we want to do is we need to determine a campaign source and a campaign medium. Now, typically what I'm going to type in is just Facebook, and then I'm going to type in ads. You could type in Meta, right? If you are only running ads on Instagram, like you just saw, you could just type in Instagram. If it's only on Facebook, you can do Facebook. If you're doing both, you could do Meta. So this is completely up to you. But this is really up to you, or this is the only part that has to be up to you. What we can do is go into campaign name, and then what we will select is campaign name right there. That is going to pull in the name of your campaign into your Google GA4 analytics. So whatever you name your campaign, RIQ test campaign, that is what's going to push through. This is a really nice thing about Meta. For campaign content, I'm going to select ad set name. Do not select ad set ID. It's just going to give you a string of numbers and you're not going to be able to make any sense of that. So ad set name. You'll see that we're actually all out. We don't have 5 options here until we click add parameter. We will type in UTM underscore term. That is going to send in that 5th layer of information. And this is the important part because it's going to send in your ad. And so there's 2 things that I add here. I do the ad name, but then also, as I mentioned earlier, I also like to add placement. So placement is an option. You'll see that. Placement, but I also want the ad name. So what I typically do is I do the ad name first, and then I type in the placement next. And then I hit apply. So now I'm going to be sending in all of these different layers of information. And at the term level or at the ad level, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see the name of the ad. And right now it would be new sales ad, so that's not going to give me a whole lot of information. So I want to be specific in my naming, but then also where that was placed. So right before this, you saw all of the placement options, whether it was in the feed or the right-hand column or in Marketplace. It's also going to show in your analytics that piece as well. So again, that's a really powerful tool that just shows where that placement is. So that's going to allow you to, further optimize, and maybe you find out over time, it's only the feed. It's not, I want to remove automatic placements because it's only in some specific spot. So that is how we nail down our parameters. So I'm going to go back to this because that's really what we were doing. So let me actually show you one more little trick that I think you might find useful. So we are just going to have to load up a test here. And let's just send people to HTTP, let's just say hacktics.com/retargeting IQ. Again, we're not really concerned about this. Okay, it looks good. So this would be like a image 1 angle B or something like this. So your angle is kind of your copy and how your the marketing angle of your ad, and then you can say the medium. So you could say it's an image, you can say it's a video. That was kind of helpful. So let's see if it'll let me publish this. Okay, it will. Great. So from here, what I would do, if I'm setting up retargeting, and this is why I wanted to show this, I'm going to duplicate this. It's going to pull everything out of it, which is awesome. Again, meta for the win right here. And let's just say this is not last 14 days, but now this will be days 15 through 30. And again, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do days 15 through story. What you could be doing is, days 1 and 2, days 1 through 5. As I mentioned before, this has everything to do with the amount of site traffic that you have. So let's go down to, so all of this should stay the same. Even our angle, and I know that I'm sending people to the wrong page. I need to be sending people to the story selling page. I get that, but I just typed that in for this example. So the only thing that I should need to do, though, in this case, is actually add this audience of 30 days and remove that one. And we'll do all website visitors 14 and RIQ story selling opt-ins. So now, as I showed in the include, I put the opt-in up there, so this should be there. There we go. So we are targeting the people who've been there for all 30 days, but we are removing the first 14, and we are removing the people who opted in. So theoretically, this should only be targeting the people who have opted in, or who haven't opted in and who visited 15 to 30 days ago. Now, to be completely transparent, I wouldn't chase somebody that long. I don't think. Obviously, I would have to yield to the data. You could run these experiments, but at some point, you are going to have to assume that this person just doesn't want your offer. So you can continue to run retargeting ads to 180 days, and Meta will gladly collect your money from you. But at some point, you are going to have to determine, how long it normally takes somebody to opt in. There's actually a really cool feature in GA4, which shows you your typical path duration of how long it does take somebody to opt in. So that's a good feature to just kind of know, but you're not going to know right out of the bat. Maybe it's 30 days, maybe it's 60 days. I don't know. If it's a big offer, if it's a high end ticket offer, you might want to retarget for a long time. If it's a low ticket offer, then it's not going to be worth retargeting somebody for, 30 days or 60 days or 90 days. You're just going to have to set a cutoff date at some point and then call that good. So again, what I'm doing here though is I named these specifically so that I know this is retargeting during these days. So as I'm going through my analytics in the future, what I'm going to see is, okay, when do people actually convert? Maybe this is a total waste of money. Maybe Meta is a waste, maybe Instagram is a waste of money, or maybe Facebook is a waste of money. I just want to continue to dig into the data that way. And so, yeah, I think that is the case. So the nice thing is I just published this. So this will be ideally what I would want to do on this ad is like make it a different angle, make it a different creative, maybe a video or something like that, because you don't want to just retarget the same person with the same thing every single time. People typically have objections. They have an internal objection, an external objection, or a philosophical objection. And what you want to do is you kind of create angles or ads to deal with all of those. One very easy external objection is money, right? So you could have an ad on the ROI of your offer. If you buy money, if you buy this, then you'll make your money back, right? An internal objection is something like, I don't believe that I can do this personally. And so that's where you would probably highlight somebody who's already done this, who's come through this, or a satisfied customer. and so on and so forth. I'm not going to get into philosophical because that's going to be different for everyone. So the one thing that I did want to show you though, as I duplicate this, that pulls through all of my UTM parameters. So that's a nice thing about this. If you pull in all of your, if you properly create the UTM parameter the first, you can just go in and duplicate. But let's say that you forgot and you didn't do that, and you want to go in and just change these all at once. The nice thing is we could go to RIQ. We can do both of these. We'll go to both of these ads. You could have like 20 different ads right here. All that we would need to do here is go to URL parameters, and then we could just tweak this one up top. So let's just say I don't want to call it Meta. I want to call it Facebook. After all, I click enter, and that changes the UTMs on all of those. So that will put your ads back into a processing mode. So you may lose some learning. So I don't know if you lose learning or not. I can't say because I don't know. But that's why I would say just make sure that you figured this out from the get-go on the first. Or just try to do it correctly the first time, so that way you don't have to go in and put your ads back into learning mode. So, all right, that is how we create all of these elements. We're finally at DPAs. All right, so I'm in a business manager. Again, this is a different business manager, but what I want to show you is how to create a dynamic placement ad. What we're going to do is we're going to go to sales. We're going to click continue, and then we will do manual as well. So let's go to, we can just set this up as, let's just say DPA test. Again, this would be retargeting DPA. Now, I don't think that all of your ad sets have to be DPA, but let's see this, we'll choose where to drive sales. We could do website and shop so that they can buy right there. We will click this. And then conversion event is a purchase because this is e-com. That's what we want. Placements, let's just leave it on all placements. And so we will select the page, and this is here. I might have to blur out a few of these things, so sorry about that. I'm going to untick multi-advertisers. This would be something that you would test, right? I'm not going to say that you should do this or not. You could definitely test that. Now the catalog here, this is what we want to see. So you need to have a catalog in order to pull images and items from this catalog. Again, you probably won't be able to see too much of this because I want to keep this client confidential. But this is what we want to do. We want to make sure that we have this dynamic Facebook ads product set. This is really what we're after. So it's going to pull in the image that somebody looked at. So you could create a slideshow. You could do a single image. I would just keep that. Well, again, I would experiment, right? Just start off with a single image, see how that works. The only thing that you really need to do is to tell a primary text or a headline. So I do have a few in here. These are old. If I go to this UTM, I have ecom. Hold on here. All right, so we remember this. I do have a few different versions of ad copy. Again, like some of these are outdated. Okay, not to sound like your expert left something at our house. We're not talking about your Jonas Brothers CD, whatever. Like I've just copied and used some of these over time. And so what we can do is you can just take some of these if you want, and then you can use them. Let's go to Facebook ads. We will go to primary text. So again, what you're kind of saying is like, hey, you ordered, you had this in your cart, you were interested in this, do you want to continue to buy it? And then, you know, we wrote something cheeky, and maybe it's funny, maybe it's not, maybe people don't want to see it. So then obviously what we do need is a headline, like let's say, looks like you forgot this. And again, you can play around with a lot of these different elements. And then what we're going to do is we're going to send them to the landing page that we have right here. So again, what I'm going to want to do is make sure that I just type in Facebook ads. This would be the campaign name. And so again, this would be retargeting DPA. Let's do ad set name. And then this would be UTM underscore term. And this is ad name and placement. So We'll hit apply, and then that would be published. I'm not going to publish this because we don't need to, but really dynamic placement ads are not a difficult thing in order to pull in. The hard part is actually creating that catalog, because sometimes it's just, it's sometimes a bummer pulling all of that in, or getting that set up. So let's see here. What have I not mentioned? So what you would want to do is set up the logic. I think this is the most important part. So what I would do right here, what I would say, it's something like you're going to want to build out events. And so let's see what options that we have here. Let's do this. What do we have here? Okay. So let's do a little bit of this logic. So let's just say they added their payment info. Let's just say they initiated checkout, right? Initiated checkout, last 14 days. But then we also want to add an exclusion of somebody who purchased. So again, if you're an e-com store, you know, if they're doing repeat purchases, you may not want to exclude somebody for like 60 days. Maybe it's just like, hey, they initiated checkout in the last 14 days, but I want to exclude people who purchased in the last 30, because typically a customer doesn't order more than once in the last 30 days. So again, this is something that you're going to have to play with. And so I would name this though, like RT DPA initiated. You know, if it wasn't for this red line, I'd be dead man. Initiated checkout last 14 days. So that tells me, and I'm not too worried about the placements on any of this, actually, because Facebook is going to optimize for where people are spending time and where they'll buy. So that's what's nice. So again, let me check this logic one more time. So we're including the checkout, people who've initiated checkout. Now you could do add to cart here, but I like initiate checkout just because they've added it to the cart and they've started the checkout process. They didn't just add something to the cart and leave. They actually added it to the cart and then started the process. Typically what you might run into here is somebody like adding it to the cart, initiating the checkout process, seeing what the shipping cost is, and then they can maybe, you know, potentially bounce from there. So they're warm, right? They've actually are interested in this. Maybe they were just shocked by the price, and this is where you can highlight, you know, discounts and all of your retargeting and stuff like that. But I think for this purpose, I think we are probably at this end point. I'm trying to just think of anything else that I might want to say. Yeah, this is just what I want to say. Again, your exclusion audiences here, your targeting audiences here are all going to have to do with the amount of site traffic. You might have to expand that initiate checkout to 30 days if you don't have a lot of site traffic. Your retargeting might not even work if you only get a couple of visits a day. So you're going to have to work on getting people into your website. And once you have that steady stream, this is where you can just kind of systematically build this retargeting and that logic around it. And so maybe it's 7 days. Maybe you are a high volume traffic store and you want to target people who've initiated checkout in the last 3 days because that audience is at least filled with 100 people. So again, this is all going to be, you know, dependent upon how much traffic you have to your website. But all in all, I think we've covered all of our steps. I think at the end of the day, this comes up to you having a good offer and crafting good copy and elements like that. But the logic that I presented here, hopefully, is going to be very helpful moving forward. So I think that is it for this. I will see you in the next module, and we'll be talking about TikTok. All right, thanks guys, bye. All right, so I realized at the end of this video, I need to go back and check on this this event firing, and I do see that it is now firing. So I can check that with my Facebook pixel helper. I can see the page view is still occurring, and remember the pixel is 3.4, and I see the story selling opt-in. So that's great. That's what I really want to be doing. Then what I'm interested in, obviously, is seeing all of this come through. Again, we set it up. This is me right now. It did take a little bit of time for this initially to come in, so that's all right. I am now seeing this also in custom conversions. We weren't seeing it before, so now we do see that coming in. So story selling opt-in is right here. So I see that. That looks all correct. So I'm glad that this is coming in. So we see that custom conversion coming in. We see it on our pixel. And so now I feel much better about it. And so sometimes it just might take a little bit of time for that to show up. But then when you go to build your campaign moving forward, now instead of selecting purchase like I did on mine, you would select that custom conversion in your event that you're trying to optimize for in your conversion-based campaign. All right, faked you out on the last outro. Now this is a real outro. See you in the next lesson. Bye.